A decade after a series of uprisings swept across the Middle East, the western edge of the Arab world remains fragile, and its fragility could trigger instability that threatens U.S. interests. At the same time, this faraway corner of the Middle East, a region that includes the countries of Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia, also holds a number of opportunities for the Biden administration. Low-cost, high-reward measures which would advance U.S. interests in this arena of rising geostrategic importance. We don't normally think of this faraway corner of the region as a focus of attention, but we should. Together, these countries have a population more than 90 million, a market rivaling Egypt with nearly twice the population of all GCC countries combined. It sits on the southern border of Europe and the northern frontier of the Sahel, home to one of the world's most lawless, terror-laden regions. And the recent agreement for normal relations between Morocco and Israel links the most western point of the Arabic-speaking world to the heart of the Middle East and the birthplace of the three Abrahamic religions.
So what are America's interests and strategic objectives in this part of the world? They include bolstering our alliances, preventing the spread of terrorism, containing great power competitors, and strengthening maritime security across the Mediterranean Sea. Pursuing these interests will not be free of challenges. As part of the Morocco-Israel agreement, the U.S. gave diplomatic recognition to its ally Morocco's claim of sovereignty over the Western Sahara, shaking up the status quo. There is a chance that the long simmering conflict could turn into an all-out war if the Polisario, the political organization of local Sahrawis, with Algeria's backing, decides to take up arms. There's a serious threat of spillover from the Libyan war as weapons proliferate and terrorists use Libyan territory to train and launch attacks. Algeria's political and economic situation continues to deteriorate, and the vacuum of political leadership in this major oil and gas producer could pose real challenges for a country with which the US has managed to achieve important security coordination in recent years. Terrorism and radicalization are potent dangers, not just within these states, but throughout the ungoverned region to their south, where armed groups are waiting in the wings to pounce. Great power competition reaches even here. Russia and China have been trying to establish a deeper presence and influence throughout this region, where the US and Europe have traditionally enjoyed dominance. And of course, there is the ever-present possibility that lagging political and economic reform, now compounded by the effects of COVID, could spark social unrest.
And yet, for all these challenges, the Biden administration also faces key opportunities that it can seize to advance our interests and ensure stability. When it comes to the combustible situation in the Western Sahara, we urge the new administration to affirm support for Moroccan sovereignty, but also to pursue UN mediation and peacekeeping in the disputed region. Threading the needle will preserve US credibility and advance another core interest emerging from the sovereignty decision: real, substantive Morocco-Israel normalization. In Algeria, the Biden administration should think smart, think realistic, and think strategic in creating opportunities for deeper security and commercial ties, ensuring that Algeria's longtime ally in Moscow doesn't get too comfortable. And in Tunisia, the US has a keen interest in seeing democracy survive and even thrive. We urge the administration to expedite economic assistance and to begin talks for a free trade agreement. And when it comes to the region more generally, the Biden team should strengthen the US Africa Command, whose operations have been crucial to assisting our allies and countering terrorism. This is not a case of fighting a forever war. This is about making sure a reasonably quiet and comparatively stable part of the Middle East stays that way.
Those are just the highlights. For more, read our presidential transition paper, Seizing Opportunities and Strengthening Alliances in Northwest Africa. Ideas for Policy Toward Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. Available at washingtoninstitute.org.